It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. Shawn, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks, Gary.
Excellent. I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Well, we made it. We have NLL Week 1 in the books. We got there. We've got a new city that's been in there, and we had a great time over there. We watched banners go up. We've watched some crazy stuff that we're going to talk about this week as well. Stuff I haven't seen since the early 2000s. But just before we get rolling there, just a reminder to everybody that, of course, all of our episodes are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Also, we are on Spotify. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please tell your friends and family, co-workers, anybody else you can tell. Please enjoy all of our affiliates across the Stream Punk Entertainment Network. If you've missed a show, no worries. You can get it on YouTube, whether it be at Stream Punk Sports, Stream Punk Cinema, Stream Punk Combat, or, of course, all across all the time. When you're there, please subscribe. Please let everybody know about us. There you will find our library of shows, interviews, retro games, fights, press conferences, all kinds of things, more things coming all the time. I just put up the Bandits press conferences from yesterday as well. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also, a reminder that our show is brought to you by 60. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflects the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and excellence sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Remember, Lax Talk 10. Put that on every order. Receive a 10% discount on your order. How do you order? First off, you've got the QR code right in the middle of your screen. Next, of course, you can go on to Instagram at sweet_60. You can email them at info.sweet60@gmail.com, or you can go onto the website at www.sweet60.ca/60. Jim is more than happy to work on any and all ideas with you. A couple of milestones to talk about before we really get rolling on there. The first one is from Friday night, where Doug Jamieson just passed the 5,500-minute played mark. That's impressive. Getting better, like Vino, getting better with age. He looked great on Friday night, I'll tell you. He was the real reason why they won. Excuse me. The other one is to Hogan Anacoke, who got his 100th career goal. Now, you want to have this one as something that you want to boast about, really go on about, but I don't know if this is the one that he's going to show everybody going, this was my 100th. Let me show what we're talking about. I thought I could add a nice musical track for just such an occasion. I thought that was a apropos for the goal that was scored. What in the heck Shanahan and Van Scheppen were doing, I don't know. But even Anacoke is clapping at that one at the end. And, Shawn and I talked about this off air, and I talked about it with John Gertler after the game last night also. The funny thing is that if Van Scheppen would have saved that would have been a 2-minute penalty. That's just after killing the 5-minute goaltender penalty, which we will talk about. Well, why don't we just bring it up now so we don't have to talk about it in the recaps. The last time I seen a goalie serve their own penalty, I believe, was 2002. And it happened to be Bob Whipper Watson. And it was a major, and he went. I had remembered in mill years guys like Marty O'Neill and Dallas Eliak serving penalties and doing well. But, granted, goalies don't usually get 5-minute majors. But in this particular case, here we go.
A 5-minute major, the player like a goaltender has to serve it. And listen to this crowd of 19,070 on their feet. As Steve, we haven't seen this in a long time.
Even strength, there will no longer be a power play on the major penalty if Buffalo scores 2 times. But Dobson has to stay in the box and serve the whole 5 minutes, I believe. That's normally the case for a major penalty.
The shoulders, you can't cross-check like that, though. Up above the shoulders and through the neck. And we'll see what kind of call there might be.
A conference here similar to what we saw before.
Now, did he deserve a 5-minute penalty? Yes, he did. He lined him up and he just labeled him. And then he had a few things to say when he was down too. So, just to add to the exclamation point on the sentence there. But yeah, and the idea being that even if they score twice and you're back to full strength, he's still in the box. So you still have your backup in the net. I like the idea. I like that they're going back to this idea because that might stop a lot of stupid stuff from happening. Lining guys up and doing different things. And to me, it took everybody off guard. It was brought up in the press conferences also that they weren't sure what was going on. The refs had to have a big meeting about it. And before you know it, they finally put Dobson in the box. I'm curious what everybody else thinks about that. Shawn, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I not necessarily against what happened. More to me when I watched it was, and I guess we'll get to it more in the recap, but Dobson wasn't really playing all that well to begin with. And then to take let's call it a spade here, a dumb penalty that ended up costing him with that inadequate goal, really, even though it technically wasn't on the power play. You just wonder what he was thinking.
Well, I even go one further is that even if the 5 minutes are up, it's not like he's going to run out of the box. It would be
exactly.
It would be the next whistle. That could be 3 minutes later. So it could be 8 minutes he's sitting in there. And Shanahan's in net. Because Shanahan's not going to run to the bench. And he's going to run, possible, I guess. But I don't think it's a probability. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't see a situation like that happening. I think, they're for a goalie, you're going to have to really think long and hard about how you interact with the opponents there in the crease.
Yeah, of course you want to slow them down and get them off your man, but you can't.
You can't beat it, yeah.
Cross check
Size them up and
helmet for crying out loud. That was just an ill-timed, ill-thought-out move, and it didn't technically it didn't cost him because they killed it off, but you saw the follies afterwards, and it's like, that could be still attributed to that because he was in net, but
yeah, they're not going to try. They're not going to try to switch things out like that because
I still say Shanahan's a better goalie than that. I don't know what was going on, panicking or something to get it out in the 4 seconds or whatever, but that's worst case scenario that could have happened. And of course it changed. I was texting with you guys when I was up in the press box going, if they kill it off, that could be a huge momentum swing for Georgia. And they did. And I thought, okay. And then this happens and it winds up being an even bigger swing for Buffalo because now you've completely gotten Bandit Land, awake. And away they went. And it was a pretty raucous crowd. Now, of course, before the game, Buffalo did raise their banner. And it's almost a yearly ritual now, isn't it? You almost put it into the program of, okay, first game of the year is we raise our banner and then we go and play a game. It's funny that JT was playing that down in the press conference also. It's like we don't talk about stuff like that. We talk about winning the next game. The next game is the most important game. And that's it. It's probably the best way to go about things because if they're looking at that, then they're not paying attention to the job at hand. And very veteran squad, and we were talking about that also after the game, is Buffalo actually got older. Every team was looking to get younger, and Buffalo actually got older over the offseason. So it's all in for number 4 or all out. One of the two. There's no in between in this. Thoughts, guys? Mike?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's obviously it's unprecedented, other than Rochester in 2015. But I mean, the moves they made, you can already see them paying off between Banesh and acquiring Mitch DeSnew from Philly. So,
yeah, we'll get into that more later. But DeSnew looked really good yesterday. He was doing a lot of really great things.
Again, they were still able to retain almost everyone. Hey, Seth, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I mean, the veteran thing, and I mean the age. I mean, we've been talking about it for several years now, and it seems to not really be phasing them. So,
no, it's interesting too because at the post party because of the banner and because of getting the rings, and the scheduling the way it is, I got a chance to see Chris Kluche and Chase Fraser at the post game. It was kind of fun talking. Chase with the biggest smile in the room. Really, it's just lit up the place, and great to talk to him for a few minutes there. And at one point he was serving behind the bar. It was even funnier, but just the camaraderie is still there. They're up in a suite, and excuse me, and that must have been a little odd. There they are in Bandit Land, which was sold out, and they're sitting in a suite enjoying the game. That's something I don't think they've ever had. So it's just little strange little tidbits. All right. The first game of the weekend, though, of course, was the inaugural game for the Oshawa Firewolves. I keep getting Albany stuck in my head. The Oshawa Firewolves. And, of course, was over there. It was great. The barn was full. Lots of stuff going on before game, during game, after game. A lot to do with the Diachenkos. And for those of you who are longtime NLLers would know that both the Diachenko boys were NLLers. I knew Nick because he was a Toronto Rock guy. I actually interviewed Nick about 15 years ago when he had just come on with the Rock. He's Sweet Lou, the DJ that's been the Rock DJ for the last number of years. He's now the DJ, of course, for Oshawa. So they got Jamie every which way, right? Attendants, employees, all kinds of things. And it's. But I want to just play a little montage, about a 15-second montage of just the whole evening per se. Great arena, lots of room. It's where the Oshawa Generals play. So it is built for viewing sports well. Scoreboard is great, Major League scoreboard. Good sight lines everywhere. The whole downtown, though, it's all within a couple of blocks of it. You walk around for the pre and post game parties, and they're just around the corner. You're walking down to the arena, everybody's there. Things are cheaper there too, like parking. I believe it was on the city that night. I didn't have to pay for parking, but I believe it's $5 or something like that for parking in the city park. It's like, this is great. And even concession stands aren't going to rob you blind, not yet, anyways. But and everybody was in a good mood. Packed house. Lots of firsts we saw in that game, of course. Looking at the game itself, of course, Herbie's with us. Hey, Herbie. Yeah, I was up in the press box myself. It was a ruckus up there too because I had all the Bandit guys who weren't playing up there. So there was a long line of people that were up there. But the game itself was exciting, and the new additions on the Rock, CJ Kirst looked very comfortable out there. A couple of goals in there, as well as Owen Hiltz. He started to heat up also in the second half. But give it to Albany, man. Nick Tchaikovsky with the inaugural Oshawa goal. A beautiful unassisted peg of the corner. And then, of course, Ethan Walker came to life in the fourth with a couple of goals there, including the killer of Toronto with 52.2 seconds left. A screenshot that went through the 5-hole of Nick Rose for the eventual game winner. Now, you guys both watched the game. What are your takes?
I mean, I'll start. I personally like the camera angles for the broadcast of the arena. I thought everything was really easy to see how things develop, going back and forth.
Yes, Steph, thank you. I will. I just have to get over the cold that I've been fighting for the last week.
Yeah, I mean, we saw early on. We saw a few new looks at the new replay system. I like how all that went. I like the way it was explained on the broadcast to the fans, how every single team has the same technology, is able to do the same thing, as the refs are. Angles sync up and all of that. So, I personally am not concerned about reviews taking, say up to 5 minutes, as long as they're right.
I'm not an agreeer on that one, though. If you can't figure it out in the first 2 minutes, you're not figuring it out. It'll be inconclusive, and that's the end of it. And it just kills everything in the arena, momentum, teams, all that. There should be a limit. 2 minutes. You can't figure it out. That's it. But that's just my opinion. Shawn, what's your takes from this?
Yeah, more or less what Mike said too. And after the game itself, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, CJ Kirst looked like he's a wily veteran out there.
Yeah,
which is great. And, I mean, his first goal was even just unbelievable. And even Sam English, 11 loose balls. He's going to be another great one for the Rock. And really, this was a coin flip. Both teams looked really good, honestly. And I have to admit, too, watching the broadcast and seeing Alex Simmons kind of stir the pot a little bit was quite entertaining as well.
Right. It's funny because it took forever for them to get the first goal, but I think 3 goals were called off. 2 for the Rock, 1 for Oshawa for being in the crease. Now, I look at that as a good thing. That means they're going inside. Even though they step on the crease, they're going inside. Challen Rogers diving across the crease. I see CJ Kirst diving across the crease. I see a few other people going in and out, and they're doing inside stuff. And I thought that was refreshing. But again, you walk into a hot goalie like Jameson, who just absolutely stoned them. And it is what it is. You're going to have games like that. But more times than not, this team's going to wind up scoring a fair amount of goals. I also was very intrigued at seeing Dan Craig really playing a different role. He wasn't playing up front near the net. He was more doing what Mark Matthews does, doing a lot more quarterbacking back around the transition lines and restraining lines and that. But I think that they're onto something here. And they're a lot more athletic than they've been in the last few years. And they're all like they were doing in training camp, picking up for one another. Josh Dalwick, he also he's much bigger than he was before. He's put on a few pounds there of muscle. His upper body looks a lot stronger than since he first come into this league. Mark Matthews looked invigorated, and that's a good sign. But again, you're looking at the Oshawa team. Well, of course, Alex Simmons having a great night. Tchaikovsky had a really good night. It wouldn't be complete if Dyson Williams didn't get a goal in his hometown. And the roof came off the place when he scored. So, there was nothing but good things to say about everything, including the fan base was there. I am curious to see what happens the next game when the Rock aren't playing, because there were a lot of Rock jerseys there. So let's see when it's not the team that's just down the street and it's another team that's not going to have their fan base there, if it's going to be as busy with fans. I hope so. I really do hope so. It is a great venue, easy to get to. Even in rush hour, it didn't take that long to get there. I had a heck of a time getting to Buffalo yesterday. It was wild. 3 hours I'm never going to get back again because of traffic and other things going on. So, I got there just in time for the banner raising, which was like, you're looking at the dumbest invention in the world, guys, is the car clock. Because when you're going, you don't look at it. When you're not moving, you can't take your eyes off it. And you're sitting there just, come on. You can get there. So, that's the way it was. But Doug Jamieson was the first star of the game. Well deserved. He had just the game of games in my eyes. So if he's doing that all year, they're in good shape. Alex Simmons, he was star number 2. CJ Kirst, what a great way to start your first NLL game. Being a third star, a couple of goals, never hurts. But 55-20 in favor of the Rock shots. Yeah. Jamieson making 48 saves. He's mid-season form. It'll be also a different Rock team once TD Erling gets back, because not having a face-off guy, that doesn't help.
Yeah, well, I mean, neither team did, so.
True. But
so the same could be said for Oshawa when Joe Nardello returns.
Right. Yeah. Right. Anyways, that's how that all scored out, and it's very good. I just want to bring somebody in here that I believe we're familiar with. We haven't seen him in a while. Let's get Pat back on the show here. I see the Philly fans are here too.
What's going on, guys? Long time no see.
Hey.
Just a little stressful. Just a little stressful about a football team, a certain football team. But I'll get over it. A little gray hairs here and there don't hurt nobody. But we're not here to talk about that slop. We're here to talk about a Philadelphia Wings team that's caught me by surprise. And I sent you guys earlier. I had a comment. I don't know who the guy is, but apparently Mitch. He was apparently a Mitch the Snoop fan. So apparently he's not happy with him getting moved out of here. But oh well, kick rocks.
About 6,000.
I don't know.
Brian Stephanie, it's about 6,000 people. Kind of was like Paramount last year for the Rock playing. Sorry, Pat.
No. Listen, I'm just excited that this is going to be a whole new look. You move on from Mitch Jones. I don't think he fit the scheme here and what Paul Day wanted to do. The results as for great facilitator. But as far as being that 1A option as far as scoring goals, I didn't see that in him. Quite the bold move from Paul Day to move on from him. But still, me and Mike talked about this last week. Who's going to be that 1A option? I mean, you got Joe Russell-Terrence. I look at this roster: Phil Caputo, Dalton Young, who came on hot at the end of last year. Is Michael Sowers going to be able to transition? Turn his game over from the field game to the indoor game? Can he make something of it? Does Bradley O'Neal step up and make something happen? Who's going to step up for this Wings team to be that one scoring A option?
Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be Russell-Terrence. I think something that gets kind of lost with the numbers that Russell-Terrence and Mitch Jones were putting up the last couple of seasons is the fact that both of them were consistently in the top 5 or top 10 in turnovers as well. Which, obviously doesn't bode well, if it's great that you're a high scorer, but You also
Yeah.
want to not be turning the ball over so much. You want to be taking care of the ball. So, you know, if you want to glass half full, you know, maybe your turnovers are going to decrease with one of those guys departing. You know, but it's probably going to rest mostly, I think, on Brennan O'Neill. He's got to take that next step. You know, we we know what he's capable of. You know, offensively. You know, I mean, Gary's mentioned several times during last season that, you know, he kind of needs to work on his off-ball skills. But, you know, it's only his second year in the league. You know, he's still learning. He's still growing. So, you know, I mean, best you can hope for is he doesn't have a sophomore slump. But, you know, most rookies as of late, we haven't seen that. And that's league wide. You know, guys who were in the running for rookie of the year, we're not seeing them necessarily slow down or, you know, have this massive drop off in production the following year. It didn't really happen to Alex Simmons and Ty Kurtz. You know, you know, I I highly doubt we'll see it happen with CJ Kirst and Owen Hiltz next year. You know, just to throw a couple names out there.
Right.
My question though is, I mean, this is really goes back to square one. Is what kind of Blaze Reardon are we going to get? Is he going to be the guy who likes to play bully ball and you know takes the ball down low, or is he going to be the guy trying to protect that collarbone injury and shoot from the outside? Because we need someone who could grind down low. I mean, we need somebody who can direct traffic down there, could cause havoc. And he was doing that 2 years ago. You didn't see much of it last year. Matter of fact, he stayed away from shooting down low and being that bulldozer kind of a player. And you're going to need that from him. If he could stay, because if he could do that with that reckless South Philly Broad Street bully kind of mentality, if he brings that down there, that sets up for the Phil Caputos and Dalton Youngs and your secondary scorings, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a tough one. With kind of, I mean, I guess you could call it his second major NLL injury now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might necessitate kind of a role change, but at the same time, you know, we've talked off air about, you know, that lefty core now, is they're a bunch of big bodies.
They are.
You've got Blaze, You've got Brennan O'Neill, you've got Eric Fennell is a big body. And again, you know, I'll reiterate, he's now year 2 off that major knee injury. And I think that's with injuries like that, you know, first season back, there's always that, you know, hey, is he really comfortable playing on it yet? You know, he looks tentative, you know, that kind of stuff. And by the second year, you're 2 years removed from that injury, as long as you haven't aggravated anything.
He looked good in training camp too. He looked good in the last game.
So you usually see production start to pick back up, because it's kind of now I feel I'm 100% fully healthy. I have 100% confidence that I'm not just gonna, you know, some awkward step is gonna, you know, wreck me again and put me out for another year, something like that. You know, and they also have, obviously, they traded for Brian Cameron, who's another big body.
I was going to say, I think that's the acquisition that kind of flies under the radar. I think, and Gary might be able to speak to it, seeing him in Toronto, is I think that guy, he can see more ball in his stick. He could make an impact.
He's got a hell of a shot. He really does. And I also look at the other one is Bo Columbus. He's going to pay dividends also, and another 6'2", 217, another big body. So this is a really big team. When you're talking about Isaiah Davis Allen being one of the smaller guys on the team, who's also 6'2", but only about 180, that's a pretty big team.
And
It's about gelling, really. Corbeil's back; he's healthy, so he should be able to anchor the defense real nicely.
Yeah, and there's a number of guys who've been there for a few years now. Ryan Wagner, Alex Pace, Davis Allen, as you mentioned. So it's not like there was this total tear down and rebuild. There's a fair amount of chemistry there. A lot of the guys that they've picked up the last couple of years are proficient in transition. And you already had guys like Pace, like Wagner, like Davis Allen, who were proficient in transition.
Mhm.
Now you're adding Domini, you're adding Mike McCannell.
Also, nobody's expecting much, so there's no pressure. Them and Calgary are the teams that both are playing without pressure. You
Absolutely.
get teams like Buffalo, Toronto, teams Colorado. They all got tons of pressure on them.
There's high expectations.
Really high expectations, and anything short of a championship
Vegas.
is a failure of a season.
I got a question for you guys. Ian Rubel, he was a defensive mind first before he became that coach. I mean, does he prefer these kind of big bodies being down low that kind of make a defense that much more better, though? I mean, I know what you think about Scott Thomas.
I think it's been a trend for almost as long as I've been into lacrosse now. And I saw it firsthand with the Black Wolves, 17, 18, 19, before Rich Lisk left to join the Riptide as the GM. He basically wanted a back end that was comprised of all, lanky, athletic guys who could potentially play,
But
both
also
ways.
see once they get back,
So
get Domini back, you also get Messenger back.
Yeah.
See how that all gels together,
another force
because
in transition.
there's a lot of really good things.
Brian,
Davis
I think that's good. Listen, I would hope it's going to be Bo Columbus, because if I'm a Wings fan, like even push Pat aside, any other Wings fan, I cannot sit through another season. Okay, no offense to Nick Rowlett, I cannot see another season of Nick Rowlett taking faceoffs when you have a guy who's a faceoff specialist.
There you go. There's the
Bo Columbus should be their faceoff guy.
He had a great summer on faceoffs too, so he can do it.
Yeah, I like I said, I'd like to pick up a Bo Columbus. He could play in both ends of the floor. I'm still not sold, though, for me personally, on Isaiah Davis. I've seen him get cooked too many times, where he can't keep pace with a lot of the opposition. So that's the only one bugaboo. Some of these guys can't keep pace when it comes to man-to-man coverages. But I mean, if these big bodies will work, and that's going to me, to see how these new pieces are going to gel into the system. I mean, you got Pat Foley in there, Liam Patton. It's going to be in there.
There's two more guys who are proficient in transition.
Oh yeah.
We sort of mentioned Chris Corbeil, another guy, transition, and Corbeil's the kind of guy who he's going to get through to these guys. Hey, you got to slide here. You got to play up high. You got to play down low.
And he'll help Deacon Knott a lot too. With Deacon's good with calling switches. Also, Nick Demuth. Like, think about it. Your goalies were 1-2 in the President's Cup, including Nick Demuth winning the MVP. Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they have a number of guys who had terrific summers. And it's another thing we've discussed over the last couple of years is sometimes all it takes is a good summer.
Don't forget also, you have one of the greatest minds as the defensive coach in Pat McCready. He can
And that's
shirt off.
another
100%,
thing.
yeah.
That's another one, and it's year 2 now. So he's kind of firmly, and I think he's going to establish his system. I still think they just kind of need to find that identity. It sounds like that identity is going to be hopeful. I hope it's going to be push and transition.
Right.
To as much as they possibly can, because they do have a lot of speed on that team. So,
I mean, and I think if they start with Deacon Knott at net instead of Nick Demuth, just try that out, kick the tires. I mean, obviously, the job's there for him to take. You start build from inside out. You go from him. You got your defensive team, like you said. You guys were mentioning about the big bodies, but then, like I said, to me, it's what the forwards are going to do for this squad and the transition games and all that stuff. How can they be creative? Like I said, I would start with Blaze Reeder and try and get him rock and roll and see where he's going to be at in this scheme. And to me, it's all about guys like Sinfield, O'Neill, Dalton Young. Those guys taking that next step forward. And to me, the big question is, can Michael Sowers transition his game from the box game or the outdoor game to the box game? And because there is nowhere to hide. In the field, you can hide wherever you want and try, set up all these set screens, all that. In the box, I've seen him take some shots. I've seen him get hit like a squash, like a bug out there, and against some of these bigger defensemen. So I wonder if he can, make some plays and all that stuff.
Funny enough,
I would share a little bit of your concern just because of his size, but he also has that speed as an asset. He's the kind of guy that they can use in set pieces where he's maybe playing behind the net. And he can kind of facilitate the same way he does with the Water Dogs to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But again, funny enough, the Wings have moved very quietly to be one of the youngest teams in the league. So as they grow together, they have a lot of years they can put together.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot to be said for keeping cores together. Look at
100%.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Look at Saskatchewan's dynasty, and that
Buffalo
stayed
said it.
together.
They said it again and again. The reason why they brought this new and Benesh back wasn't because of their charm, is they've played there before, and they know what they're getting, and they know the kind of players to fit in, and they're pieces that are, certain pieces that JT wants for it, and that's what Paul Day is starting to do now, and looking long term instead of short term goals. Well, I got you here, Pat. Though, you did quite well this week.
What?
Someone
Go back to shooting my ass.
Well, I'm so surprised his screen froze.
Yeah. There you go, Pat.
No, I got that Vancouver one wrong.
We all did.
We all did. So
We all did.
And I want to say why we're talking about that. I'll tell you what, going back to the Wings, though, they are going to get tested on opening day. I mean, you got the Mammoth coming in here, which, Mr. Malcolm is – yeah. Mr. Malcolm is he might thump this team pretty good. So, they're going to get tested right out the gates immediately. So we'll have to see what they can do. I mean, this guy, he could score. I mean, one thing about Mr. Malcolm, you give this guy the power play, it's going to come back to haunt you big time.
And again, another guy who had a phenomenal summer. So,
yeah. And for a Colorado team that we weren't sure which way they're going, they already thumped Vancouver, and we all picked Vancouver, and they pick them because we thought with the players they put in. Granted, we didn't take in the gelling process where they got to figure out what each other's doing. And I have a clip of Miloski, and he'll talk about how they're killing themselves with power plays, losing them by taking penalties themselves. So, there's reasonings for it. But
yeah.
Thanks, Seth.
So, yeah, like I said, it's going to be fun, though. It's going to be an exciting time, too. 13 days we have till Wings Lacrosse. I'm excited. I'm actually I can't wait for the season because I know on paper I'm looking at, with all the concerns, I'm, tearing my hair out. But, when come game time, it's game time, and we'll see how this team's going to answer the bell, answer the call. I mean, last year they had a great start. Hopefully they can have a great start and keep their foot on the gas pedal, not completely fall off their train track where this team kind of flipped over 8 times from Sunday. So, I kind of expected, I expect this, with the Flyers and 76ers. I don't have expectations, like you said, Gary. There's no really pressure on this team. On paper, to me, this is a bottom feeder team, but who knows? Reality doesn't meet paper all the time, and maybe they can flip the script.
Absolutely. And Pat will be starting next week in the Wings Nest with us.
Oh, can't wait to go to the bird's nest. I am foaming in the mouth to get back into the box.
There you are. Well, it's great to have you back, Pat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're enthusiasm in here, so.
Oh, yeah, listen, I'll be going. I got my bags right for bad games. I have my fruit ready for good games. I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm curious to know how this season's going to play out. Like I said, under 13 days, Scott Dominey's the future of today. So we'll see what happens. Just curious to know what team we're going to get. And how do you think Ian Rubel's going to make out now that he got a little taste of being back to being the head coach? How do you think he's going to pay out for a year 2?
Well, I'll say he was a tough as nails player, and I expect him to be a tough as nails coach. And everybody knows what they got with him. They had him in there before doing other things with Paul Day, and so it's going to be his system, right? He's got good people in there to take care of offense and defense. He's just going to, be the main conductor. So it's going to be as I saw even in the training camps, Paul Day is part of that as well. It's a correlation of really good lacrosse minds trying to get this ship to go this direction and stay going this direction.
You know what? When I saw the Philadelphia Wings moved on from Mitch Jones, and I saw a lot of my friends going bananas, this is crazy and all that stuff. I am too, Brian. I am too. A lot of people.
Okay.
Yes, I know. I do. I do got to shave there, buddy. I do. I appreciate it there, Seth. But you know what? When you look at this team, where I was going with this, but Paul Day, did always trying to try and change things. And when he moved on for Mitch Jones, a lot of people went nuts. But I actually liked the move. I actually thought he didn't fit the system. I thought this was a time for a change. And listen, it just goes to tell you, Paul Day, for anybody, this is just a number. And if you're not going to fit his scheme or system, we'll see how it works. So, and granted, credit to Mitch Jones and see how the world he's going to make out there in Vegas.
Well, the fact of the matter is simple: is that even if it doesn't work, it's not from lack of trying. These guys day and night to try and make this thing work and trying different ideas, and they're not afraid to go and whoop, we're going to go and try this way. And then they'll figure it out. They're all Hall of Fame minds.
Yeah, I even get that feeling. I even get that feeling on the Forks, especially with the younger team. You're going to see, even if you're seeing some losses, it's going to be some exciting games where you're going to see them leave it on the floor. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I think that's what a lot of Wings fans are going to see this year. Some tough games. They're going to get it back to playing physical lacrosse, like you guys were mentioning, big bodies. They're going to smash you against the wall, all that stuff. And, as long as they can keep pace with the opposition, they should be A-okay.
Absolutely. Well, Pat, we look forward to seeing you again next week.
I'll be back. I'll be looking to.
This is all back and alive.
I will be doing a lot of research on these Colorado Mammoths. And they walked out with the big W over Vancouver, but I will be doing the my researching on those guys and breaking down into the lab. So, but guys, anyway, enjoy the rest of your night and go Wings.
Absolutely. All righty, that was Pat. And he is back, and
yes,
we'll see him weekly. And look at this; he's going to be leading the pick'ems. Wow! I just I
got to win something, What I
mean? my crown to you guys.
Let this be known: if the Wings make it to the playoffs, I'll be here just in my underoos. But that might be for another whole day.
Go Mammoth. Sorry.
Bring a lot of vodka. So anyway, anyway, guys, have a good one. I'll catch you later.
All right. Take care, Pat.
Bye.
That was Pat Bernard with his take on the Wings Nest. That was awesome. Great to have his energy back.
Absolutely.
Pretty soon we'll get Caden back, and we'll get his energy back. But why don't we move on to the Buffalo game? And of course, well, banner raising night, and they beat the Swarm 15-11. But what an odd game, eh, Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, let's again call a spade a spade. Neither team really played good that first half. And I know we were kind of scratching our heads like, what's wrong with Matt Vince? Because he looked pretty shaky to start this game.
We talked about that in the bar, Gertler, myself, and one of the things that I thought was because a couple of those outside shots he didn't move. I don't think it's all of a sudden he doesn't have sight, but he has been so used to that 3-man goaltending thing and the guys down in the crease that they would make that block or that save that he's not moving, and it's catching the corner because he's not moving. Second half, different idea. Only 3 goals given up. He's moving around again. The adjustments were made. The realization that the bandit rule is in there. You know, if you make the save, and of course, that's it for you. 2 minutes for play a game. So I think it took a little adjusting on his part for where he. Dobson, on the other hand, I don't know what was wrong with him.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Gary. I was kind of saying it too. Like, we have to remember that now that they brought that new rule in, the Bandits kind of have to play a different system of defense now. So they're
another reason why they
brought adjust to it, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Another reason why they brought Stu in, though.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the second half, and really, I felt more the Swarm more or less shot themselves in the foot. You look at especially that third period. You have an illegal substitution. You have Dobson's 5-minute major. You have another illegal cross check. I mean, you had one technical power play goal that actually counted as a power play goal. You had the Nanico goal, which really, even though it wasn't a power play goal, it was a power play goal.
But it's just such a brain dead penalty to take in a 1-goal game. I get it that you're trying to block off for your man to get away, but there's nothing more premeditated than you have your back leg and you're planting and ready just to, full follow through.
Like I said earlier, you're already not playing good to begin with, and then you take a bad penalty like that. It doesn't bode well for you, and I don't know, because we know Dobson's better than that.
And he's not usually one to lose his composure.
Yeah, and I mean, because that basically was part of a 4-goal run for the Bandits in the third. And I mean, what again is the Bandits' run, right? Once they get that ball rolling, it's hard to stop them. But like I said, I think as those key penalties kind of in the third quarter, after taking no penalties in the first half, and just the discipline that really kind of shot the Swarm in the foot.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we listen to JT? I've got part of his press conference. If you want to hear the full thing, go on to YouTube, on All Across All the Time, where it's posted there, or go on to our Facebook page where it's posted there. But just a couple of minutes of JT talking about the performance. He talks soft, so you're going to have to listen up.
Most definitely, it's great night celebrating the raising of the banner. Thought Brett Swenson did a great job, and making sure that the players' minds were aware of enjoy the moment, but you have the game to play and you have a team in the building with, I'm sure, a lot of fire in the belly, wanting to quiet the crowd, and thought we did a good job of coming out and focusing on the game.
You go from giving up 8 goals in the first half to just 3 in the second half. I'm curious, what changed defensively from the first second half?
I think a whole bunch of things is we didn't give up transition in the second half, which we gave up 4 transition goals, and I don't know how many power play goals, but probably 1 or 2, so we stayed in the box. That definitely helped, and defensively we were a lot more stingy down there. We didn't give them as many step-down shots as they had in the first half, like Jackson, shooting the ball very well, and he did get one in the second half, but I thought we came up with a little pressure more. But we made a few adjustments, and they seemed to work tonight.
What impressed you with the job Connor Farrell did, especially in the face-off job?
He did a great job winning the face-off possession ski. Today we only dressed 8 defensive guys, usually we do 9. So it was important that we were winning face-offs and getting possession of the ball, not tiring our defense out.
Do
Do you remember a 26-5 night like he had? That was the stat.
I don't remember
Yeah.
like a 26-5 favorite Irish
Yeah.
team in a long time. Usually it's, in the past years, it's been the other way around. So he's been a welcome addition to the team, and he had a great night tonight. Great team guy, and fans love him, and he's a big part of our team. We're happy to have him.
Mitch Desnu comes in. Of all the guys in maybe pro sports, he's probably smart enough to fit in easily.
Yes,
But
he played here before, as you know, and he's definitely a welcome addition. I thought he was all over the floor. I thought him and Wires did a wonderful job, and I thought Mitch was great on loose balls, great on defense, and I thought he scored a very important big goal for us in transition as well. The one of the areas I thought we need to improve on was transition, and Mitchie definitely helps in transition.
You haven't been through this banner night now 3 times in a row. What's kind of the message to the team, or how do you approach it? It's not the first time for many in this group.
Mm-hmm. Just a reminder of how hard you have to work and all the sacrifices you have to go through throughout the year to be successful. And I talked about being consistent and never playing your best game and not being satisfied. I remind the guys that we've proved that we're a great team, so we have to continue to do that. And just guys keep continuing to raise the bar. I thought Danny Smith, one of the best players in the league, and easy for him to just go out there and take the night off, and he didn't. He went out there and led the offense all night. I thought he played great.
I haven't seen many goalies get 5-minute majors, and I certainly haven't seen one serve the penalty. What's the rule on that? I couldn't even find it in the rule book.
Well, a long time ago, the goalies used to serve the penalty. So when he had a 5, we were on the bench, and we weren't sure either because it's very uncharacteristic of a goalie getting a 5. So we were actually asking, each other. It's like, is he serving this penalty? So we weren't sure, to be honest with you. But the fans kind of like the fact that the goalie has to serve his own time after a 5. Just adds another element, puts pressure on the other goalie. Which, speaking of, Shandy used to play here, the backup goalie, and I thought he went in and did a great job. So kudos to him as well.
So there it is. The other one we haven't talked about, Shawn, was Farrell on faceoffs, 26-5.
Yeah.
Dominant on the dot.
He looked really good. And, JT mentioned as well, Mitch Desnu, and how well he looked, coming back to Buffalo, as well as, Ryan Benesh also looked like, again, another guy who just gets better with age, it seems, is Ryan Benesh. He looked just fit right in there as well. Because you mentioned his age, I think I saw a graphic that I think 3 or 4 of those players are 40 years of age or older.
They got older in the off season.
And
but
man,
also the transition was killing them in the first half, and the JT adjustments, as per usual, is enough to flip the script, and transition didn't bother them in the second half. They made Lyle a non-factor. Lyle, I think he had 1 assist on the night. He was a non-factor in his game.
Interesting. That's
the braids.
I was going to say, what was an interesting factor for the Swarm War was the young guys, though, like Nolan Byrne, Carter Page, Ben Trumbull, Michael Grace. Even we're talking about, Caleb Benedict looked great. I know he's been kind of IR last year, but, it was the young guys that really stepped up for Georgia. And I think, this was a loss, but I think there's a lot of positives to take out of that, too. Even their defense, I know we talked about they got beat down low quite a bit during the first half, but they were also causing a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked a lot of what I saw with Georgia, and they had, I think, 5 rookies in their lineup. So for them to go toe-to-toe with the champs with 5 rookies, I think that mid-season, this is a different team.
Yeah.
If they stay healthy. Big thing, if they stay healthy. But they have all the pieces there, and they have one of the best coaching groups, I think, in the league as well. So they'll be patient, and they'll get them moving. But Caleb Benedict, the last 2 years he's been hurt most of both years, and it's really good to see him moving. And man, has he got a quick stick?
Yeah,
just incredible the speed of getting in and out, bang. And one goal, I think, was just a flip over Vince's shoulder, too. Just had him completely fooled. but just some nice finesse, good hands.
Yeah.
So that's what they've been waiting for, is him to be healthy, and away we go. So I like that Georgia's team, even in the loss. I like it. Just like the Toronto team. I like the Toronto team even in the loss. I don't think one game is a season make, rather. But of course, the Bandits, barring
the Bandits.
yeah, crazy, barring something really crazy, the Bandits weren't going to lose banner night.
No,
there was too much emotion, and 19,070 sellout again. And as I was looking around from the press box, I'm looking at the boxes, the suites, where if it's sold, whatever, they're packed. Everything in there is packed. It's really a sight to see. And then, you just, and everybody, of course, Wendy's got them all tuned, so we counted for a while. We spelled for a little bit. And, we didn't get to spell the entire first half, though. I was getting worried. Hooked on phonics thing. I just wasn't getting it. But, we had a chance to do it a bit. And, it's also a little bit, ominous, I guess, if you're the opposing goalie, where they start naming you and, you suck.
Yeah, I was going to say, they spell box for Dobson.
Yeah, they did that, but they also were Dobson. Yes. And get 19,000 people doing that. That's, wow. As the table's rumbling underneath me. But it was a great night. It was a lot of fun to see a lot of people who I haven't seen in a little while. Great to talk with Steve Bermel and John Gertler also. Seeing Chase and seeing Chris Kluche was also fun at post-game amongst some of the others. So it's going to be interesting. Do they have staying power? Remember, with age also comes injury and burnout.
Yeah.
Will they be able to keep this, and do they have the legs? Remember, they're carrying 4 goalies, so their practice squad is very thin when 2 of them are goalies.
It's funny, Gary, because I do agree with you, but the funny thing is, like, we say that every year, and yet somehow
they find a way to defy it.
They defy it somehow. So
yeah.
I mean, they do have the new wrinkle now, and I have the rule here that I just want to explain for anyone who's not sure and is tuning in. Rule 67.16, player blocking shots in the crease. Players cannot attempt to block shots in their own crease. So that's the big thing, what's kind of already starting to call it the bandit rule or whatever. This is kind of designed to break up that system, that Vince has been working with for several years now, where he's had guys like Dawson and Wires and Belter, standing in the crease, blocking shots. But again, players cannot attempt to block shots while in their own crease. If they do, they get a delay of game minor penalty.
Right.
When the goalie is out of his crease, a player may act as a goalie. If this happens with less than 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter or in overtime, the other team gets a penalty shot. However, this rule does not apply when defending a dunk or diving shot attempt.
Yeah, but that does, that's kind of redundant, because how are you defending your goal if somebody's dunking from behind the net as a defenseman?
Yeah,
I defy you to show me somebody who's doing that. But
across, I can see it too, because you kind of can get pushed into the crease and stuff can happen when you're in tight like that.
But it's also, it almost was the irony of ironies is that the penalty that would have been awarded, from what I saw yesterday, would have been on Georgia. From that,
that's the funny thing in that situation. Yeah, he would have been penalized.
I'm gonna guess that additional wording about the dunk or diving shot is in there, probably to discourage the dunking player from trying to alter their shot such that it hits a defender who happens to be in the crease.
Right.
Okay.
And draw a penalty.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I could see guys, I could see guys trying to do that, and I was trying to shoot, but I kind of targeted the defending player in the crease, and when it ricocheted off him, now I'm getting a penalty. So,
well, I'm glad the league could put that in there, because that was getting a little bit old. The 3 goalie system is getting a little old. So let's see what it's like now. Now, also with Mitch DeSnew, to his credit, not just the run down the floor, take a shot, miss, score, whatever, and run to the bench. He hit a few just amazing passes from his side of center in transition. One was for a beautiful assist. Just, invigorated game. And a few moves that he had back in his own zone to get out and, beat the 8-second clock and then pass it up. Some more dimensional Mitch DeSnew I saw yesterday than I've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's also having that kind of talent around you where you don't have to feel as though you have to do everything yourself. So, ironically, the third of the press conferences, Dane Smith and was Connor Farrell. And Connor Farrell was talking about meeting Mitch DeSnew for the first time, and they were roommates. So his plane was delayed a couple hours. So he came into the hotel room, and the guy was sleeping in the bed, and he didn't know who it was. And he's looking, trying to figure out who it was. Finally woke up, and they introduced each other to themselves. It was kind of funny. And if you've ever listened or talked with Connor, he's got a very infectious laugh. He's just so happy to be there that it rubs off on the room. So everybody's laughing with the story, and such a nice guy. Honestly, just such a really nice guy. 26-5. Wow.
Yeah.
So he's also over 400 faceoff wins now, and that was news to him. Another big laugh in the room for him with him. So, yeah, that was the Bandits on their start to looking to try and 4-peat. Do they have the legs for it? Maybe. Time will tell. They have that schedule the same as they did last year, though, because next week's a bye week, then they play, then a bye week, then they play. So down the stretch there, we're going to have that. Last year was 12 games in 10 weeks, and it worked to their advantage because really, the few injuries that they did get, they were able to get replacement pieces for. But I don't know if you can keep doing that, right? Right now, they got a couple of guys banged up. Spanger's banged up. Matisse is banged up. Triola was a scratch yesterday for some reason. I don't know why. You make this big trade to get him, and then you don't use him. So I hope he's okay. I didn't see him around either. So, but it is what it is. All righty, let's keep moving along, shall we? And we're over to Ottawa. And San Diego came in and beat them 16-13. Our first opportunity to see San Diego's new and is it improved? I think so. I think it's
Seems like it.
Looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it.
I mean, they got out to a 6-0 lead by around the 20-minute mark of the game. So held Ottawa off the scoreboard in the first quarter. Ottawa did slowly claw their way back, and with just over 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they had closed the gap to 14-13, but couldn't find the equalizer. Corey Small, right off the bat, 2 quick goals in the first quarter, and Connor Robinson followed with the third goal of the quarter. So, those are 2 of their bigger acquisitions in the off season to shore up that left side, and it's already starting to pay dividends. So,
did you guys catch the 2 goals that caught my attention? One was Rob Hellier's behind the back beauty, but the Connor Kiernan one where he was going the other way, falling down, and it still found the net. How?
Yeah.
Just incredible. Sorry. Had to get that out there. But
it definitely was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Having Trevor Baptiste healthy and winning faceoffs, you're looking at a 29-4.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And it did make a difference in this game because 16-13, those possessions meant something. Because if Ottawa had even half of those back, we might be looking at a different result. But if anybody worried about whether San Diego was going to find a way to gel, I'd say no problem. No problem. Trey Leclerc looked great with 5 goals, 8 points overall. Westberg looking young as ever, right? 4 assists in this game. Leclerc also with 11 shots on net. That's a big night. You know, and again, Trevor Baptiste, not only just with faceoffs, caused turnovers, he's all over the floor. Any worries about Zach Higgins? Because he didn't start with the rest of the team. He started about 20 minutes in.
Yeah, that's kind of my overall thought is just Ottawa just right now in general. Like, is this a concern? This is a team that we thought might take the next step this year. And it looks like same old a little bit here.
Yeah, a little bit. And again, relying a lot on Jeff Teat. And, 2 goals, 2 assists for Teat was not the knockdown thing. Hellier, though, is a big plus, right? 8 points in the game, 3 goals, 5 assists. He's doing what he did for San Diego. Quarterbacking, but also putting it in when he has the opportunity. New Papa Riley O'Connor looking good also. 2 goals, 4 assists.
2 and 4, yeah.
The one that scares me a little bit is, remember we talked so highly last year about Jacob Dunbar. He was about invisible in this game. 1 assist. Larson Sundown, a goal, a couple of assists. These are the guys they need. It's not the initial 5. It's the guys that come in afterwards, right? That's what they need if they're going to be successful. Also, are they going to get Jay Thornberry to play? Having him at the faceoff spot might have helped. In fact, I know it would have helped.
Yeah. And sorry, Gary, going back to your thing too, I'd like to say that it's just kind of a hiccup to begin the year with Zach Higgins, but it's not a good start. It's not a good first impression for the start of the year.
Right. I got a short clip of Dan McRae on the game. It's only about 30 seconds, but let's hear what Dan had to say.
Man, there was a lot of good that we showed and a lot of character of coming back from a 6-goal deficit, that's damn near impossible in this league. So got to be proud. I had a lot of some of those individual efforts. Extremely frustrated by the start. It's the first game here, home opener, doing a lot of extra stuff maybe, but we guys got to be focused and ready to go. I didn't think we were, so it took us a little while to get up to speed, but happy with a lot of those individual performances. We put ourselves in the penalty box way too much to dig ourselves out of that hole.
Makes good sense, but I go back to Rad Joseph when I had him on the show last week, the week before, and he's out in the Ottawa area, and the being in Canada, not in Ottawa proper, you don't have a walk-up crowd. So if your team isn't doing well, you're not getting a big crowd. If your team is doing well, because it happens with the Rough Riders, the Red Blacks. Sorry, I've gone back to 1974. Sorry, Shawn. I have those moments now.
Let's be clear. It's the Rough Riders. Thank you.
Now it's the Red Blacks. And it happens with them. It happens with the Ottawa Senators, the hockey team as well. If they're not doing well, you're not going to have a walk-up crowd. And you're not going to have much of attendance. And the Black Bears need to have that attendance, right, to be successful.
Yeah. Also
for their home games. They are a pretty formidable team when they have a good barn, as we've seen. When it's so is the performance. They take the energy from the crowd. So, it's one of those things where each feeds the other. So they need to tighten up the penalty thing for sure. Alrighty. That brings us over to the last game of the week, and that, of course, was the one that none of us got right. All of us figured that Vancouver had this one in the bag, and Colorado comes in and wins 10-7. Oh, very, very meek first half, Mike.
Yeah, and it's actually the second straight year that Colorado's opened with a win over Vancouver this season.
Yes, we
Uh,
bringing out the Gavin Cup this year.
yeah, really tight in the first half, especially the first quarter. I mean, Andrew Q gets his first goal as a member of the Mammoth with just 4 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And teams trade goals with Will Malcolm and Ryan Lee scoring in the second quarter for the Mammoth, and Ryan Sheridan and Jesse King getting his first goal as a member of the Warriors. Both of those on a power play. 3-2 at the half, and floodgates kind of opened in the second half. Vancouver takes the lead with 2 more power play goals from Curtis Dixon getting his first goal in his hometown, and Adam Charlambides. But then Will Malcolm just goes off and kind of turns the game upside down. The Mammoth go on a 5-goal run in the third quarter to take an 8-4 lead, and Will Malcolm scores 4 of those goals, with Q getting his second. Charlambides gets another at the end of the third to make it 8-5, and they actually close the gap to 8-7 with another goal from Dixon and a goal from Keegan Ball. But Malcolm gets his 6th of the night with about 7.5 minutes to play. And then Dylan McIntosh, who actually got traded from the Warriors to the Mammoth in the offseason, gets an insurance goal. So, yeah, a little bit surprising. Del Bianco, maybe a little bit of an off night. 36 saves. Dylan Ward had 37 saves on the night. And another game where face-offs were pretty lopsided. Colorado's new face-off guy, Matthew Pauletto, 16-20.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 11 loose balls on the night, which I believe led all players. So,
do you think they exposed something Colorado did on Vancouver? That they're a little bit aged?
Maybe a little bit of the age, but I think you could use the same gelling excuse with all the new pieces.
Right. The difference between them and Buffalo is Buffalo knows how to win, right?
Yeah. But you would hope that with Kurt Malosky's system and
a lot of those new
guys
names
who have previously played in Kurt Malosky's system.
I was going to say a lot of those guys are veterans. I mean, you don't think gelling should be that much of an issue for them.
It shouldn't be. They played together in 2019, winning a cup, right?
Yeah.
Half of them, anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess in that respect, there is a little bit of concern. You know, I kind of noticed that the home crowd was a little thin. I really thought I'd be seeing 10,000 there. You know, especially after all the off-season moves. Certainly that would have helped the team.
Right.
Yeah.
Or up a little more.
Yeah, I see that. But again, we're in the Christmas season. This is one of my little things about the about the schedule being this thing. However, the NLL did space it out and kind of another reason why you see 4 games this week, 2 games next week, and you know it's to get through the Christmas season and then full bore, and just to get things rolling because eventually this is going to be a thing, right? As more teams come in, you're going to be going longer.
Yeah, and I mean for the Mammoth, you know, obviously welcome Andrew Q.
Yeah, he's been a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean Will Malcolm, you know, having a huge night. I think you know you have to be pleased with seeing Ryan Lee back on the floor, and you know, diving across the crease without worrying about injury. And, you know, some additions to the defense, but, you know, most of that core remains intact. So certainly the continuity helps. And maybe Dylan Ward's kind of finally healed from his, you know, series of minor injuries that he's had the last couple of years.
Right.
And is back more towards his 2022 finals MVP form.
Well, we can only hope that he stays healthy, because that's going to make for a very interesting ride, and just another team that's in the upper echelon mix that we have been hoping for a while and wondering. And I guess we won't see hashtag trade Ward for a little while yet.
For a little while. And this is Vancouver and Colorado's only meeting this season too. So
Right. So let's see if that pays dividends down the road. But you know, in this league, everything always comes back to bite somebody somewhere. Like I mentioned, though, we have only a couple of games next week, and that is Oshawa into Halifax on Friday, and Calgary into Saskatchewan on Saturday. Shawn will be there for the Saskatchewan game.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Say hi to the boys. And the Oshawa-Halifax game should be interesting. I'm curious to see Halifax play now with everything that has gone in there, because I think they're one of the front runners also, have done just enough that make it very interesting to see how everything is going to work there. Then things get really busy on the 12th and 13th, where we have a lot of games. Six games. So we're back to regular stuff going on, right?
Yep. We'll finally see Rochester in action, Vegas,
Philadelphia,
I believe.
Everybody, really.
Yep.
Georgia gets another crack at Oshawa this time. That'll be interesting also. San Diego gets Rochester. That'll be interesting also. That's on a Sunday.
The Halifax Buffalo could be a good one. Excuse me.
Right. Also, just to remind everybody that we are at the end of November now, and that is it for Native American History Month. I want to thank everybody who has been following along for the entire month. Once again, over the past 30 days, I've tried to show videos, articles daily related to the origins of lacrosse and the heritage of a people intertwined with lacrosse. And I hope you have been as fascinated as I have, and learned as much as I have as well. I really want to thank everybody for following the articles daily. I've really tried to give a wide variety of information with the hopes of the understanding and knowledge of the Native people, heritage, and culture. So, Yahweh, and thank you very much. As always, it's a privilege and a pleasure to do that, and anything we do to bridge the gap of understanding throughout everything is definitely for the good. It was a huge win. Absolutely. Well, and that was the week that was. It's interesting, because throw in the ALL coming up, I believe, this week, and we have ourselves a smorgasbord of things going on again. Maybe only 2 games there, but 4 games over at the ALL, and away we go. And of course, I am the media guy for them as well. So tune into them to find power rankings and find everything else that goes along with that league. Wow, that must have been fantastic.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Fantastic. There's so much to the culture and so many integral things to the whole nation as a whole for centuries that it's always amazing to watch. And every time I'm at something like that, I learn something new or a bunch of things new. And so many questions, and they're so happy to explain and explain it in terms that I can understand it. So it's a really, really a great thing. So if you happen to have a chance to get to some of these powwows and some of these other events to just check it out and, try and, open mind. Let's move things forward. Enough's enough. Time is here. We're of one people. Too much divisiveness. Let's bring us all under one roof, shall we say. But just a reminder, everybody, that we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Thread, anywhere else. We're on streampunkentertainment.com. Yeah. Smoke signals, we're everywhere, man. Don't forget to check back a couple of times a day because the news is always changing. And we have our thumbs on the pulse of the situation. We're up to date and accurate with everything that we can get you as quickly as possible. Yes, Friday, Brampton. That's when ALL starts. Can't wait. Looking forward to another great year there. There's going to be some terrific names there. So remember, if you want to catch NLL type quality at not NLL type prices, come out to your local ALL arenas. Fill it up because you're going to see great things. You're going to get your money's worth and then some. Well, yeah, Neil is fantastic. I've had him on the show. I've also been lucky enough in Prague to sit down over a couple of beverages and talk for hours about different things and stories and all kinds of different situations. And he's with the Dutch and has been for a number of years and building that program up. So it's really fantastic. And of course, a good friend of mine, Wayne Colley and Neil have been doing that for many years. So it's fantastic. All the insight that I can get is fantastic. Just the extra knowledge is wonderful. But that brings us over to last thoughts. Shawn, let's start with you.
Oh, like you mentioned, look forward to being back to the Sastel Center next weekend for the home opener for the Rush. I'm curious to see, how this team kind of responds to the success they had last year, and taking a look at Calgary too. As we mentioned earlier, a team that really has nothing to lose at this point. The pressure's all on Saskatchewan, really, not so much Calgary.
Right. Mike, last words to you.
Yeah, obviously that's an intriguing matchup. I think Oshawa Halifax is going to be intriguing. A chance for Oshawa to kind of jump out to an early lead in the standings with a big win over a Canadian rival. So,
for sure. Me, it was just great to jump in with both feet this past weekend between Oshawa and Buffalo and getting my fill of fantastic lacrosse. Man, it was some great games. And great to see everybody around the arenas and so many familiar faces everywhere that looking forward to every week. And it's so great to be back with NLL, ALL, and all of that. So let's buckle down and put on our belts because it's going to be a busy ride. But anyways, that'll do us for this week. For Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, for Muffler Mike in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. Wishing you the best of weeks. Remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher. And until we meet again next week, have a great week, everybody.